The lore that spills from haunted castles, forgotten tombs, and laboratories stitched together by lightning. One by one, we will meet the creatures who defined an age of fear. Their stories are not behind the curtain of cinema. They are alive within it. And now we invite them to rise once more. The first name is etched in crimson ink. Dracula. In the ancient forests of Transylvania, where the wind carries the cries of wolves and the moon hangs like a pale coin, there is a castle. Its stones are black with centuries of fog, its halls empty but for shadows that shift when no light burns. This is the domain of Count Dracula. Dracula is no ordinary nobleman. His eyes gleam like obsidian, and when he speaks, his words flow like a hypnotic river, lulling the living into surrender. He is both elegant and grotesque, both host and predator. By night, he leaves his castle in the form of a bat, or slips unseen like mist across the ground. His thirst is eternal, and no victim can resist once his gaze has fastened upon them. But his immortality has a price. He cannot walk beneath the sun, for daylight burns his flesh to ash. Holy symbols drive him back, and the stake, if driven true through his heart, ends his reign. Yet still his legend endures. From Transylvania to the streets of London, he carries his coffin like a monarch carries a crown, bringing death where he sets foot. He is not merely a man, but a plague given form. And though many claim to have destroyed him, the whispers continue. The Count is never gone. He waits in silence, teeth like ivory needles, for the next soul foolish enough to invite him in. Frankenstein's monster. Far from the castles of Europe lies another nightmare, not born of ancient curses, but of human ambition. In a hidden laboratory beneath storm clouds that split the night sky, a scientist sought to rival creation itself. Dr. Victor Frankenstein robbed graves of their silent tenants, stitched flesh to flesh, and bound sinew with thread. Yet it was lightning, the furious gift of the heavens, that gave this abomination life. From the slab rose the creature, not a man, not entirely a corpse, but something between. His head was scarred with bolts, his skin pale as candle wax, his eyes sunken yet alive with a tragic spark. Enormously strong, yet childlike in his confusion, the monster stumbled into a world that recoiled at his very presence. He is no mindless beast. He longs for companionship, for the gentle touch of a friend. But everywhere he wanders, he finds only screams, pitchforks, and fire. His maker calls him a mistake, a blasphemy, a burden too great to bear. So he flees, wandering the woods and villages, leaving behind a trail of both pity and terror. For when cornered, when struck down and hunted, his rage knows no limit. He can topple doors, break bones with a swipe, and hurl men like straw dolls. Yet when the fury fades, only sorrow remains. In the lore of Frankenstein's monster lies a cruel truth. It was not lightning that cursed him, nor the hands that stitched him together, but the rejection of mankind. He is a mirror of ourselves, our fear of the unfamiliar, our punishment for unchecked ambition. He lives, but he is never allowed to simply live. The Bride of Frankenstein. There was a night when the monster's cries of loneliness reached his maker's ears. To soothe his sorrow, Victor Frankenstein dared the heavens once more. Again he stitched and shaped. Again he raised a creation toward the sky. And again lightning crashed upon lifeless flesh. But this time the form was different. Slender, graceful, with hair crowned by a white streaked blaze, a figure rose, the bride. She was made not of love, but of purpose, to be companion, consort, solace to the creature who bore no equal. Yet even at her first breath, her first glimpse of the world, she recoiled. Her eyes widened, not with affection, but with horror. Her scream cut the night like glass, rejecting the mate chosen for her by science and fate. The monster's heart shattered. His hope turned to ashes in an instant. He saw in her rejection the same curse that had followed him since his first steps, that he would forever be the outcast, forever despised. In anguish, he destroyed what remained of his master's dream, collapsing the lab around them, choosing to burn with the only soul who might have understood him. The bride is remembered not for what she was, but for what she refused to be. She is the ghost of a choice never made, a love never born, a second chance torn away by destiny. She appeared for but a moment, yet that moment echoes endlessly in the monster's tragedy. To speak of the bride is to speak of beauty shaped by science, yet bound to the same curse of rejection. She is not only the monster's sorrow, she is ours too. The Mummy. In the shifting sands of Egypt, beneath the blazing sun and endless dunes, there lies a secret buried deeper than any tomb. His name, whispered in broken tongues, is Imhotep. Once a priest of Pharaoh, once a man who held forbidden love in his heart, he dared defy the gods themselves. For his crime, he was punished with the curse of the living death. Entombed alive, wrapped in bandages that scratched his skin raw, Imhotep was sealed in darkness for eternity. His body shriveled, his soul bound to silence. Yet death was not his release, it was his prison. When the ancient scrolls of Thoth were read aloud by those who meddled in mysteries they did not understand, his eyes opened once more. The mummy does not hurry, he does not chase. His footsteps are slow, deliberate, eternal. His power is not in speed, but in inevitability. With each incantation, he summons shadows of forgotten gods, bending the will of mortals as reeds bend before the Nile's current. He is driven by a singular purpose, to find his lost love, Ankes Enamon, and restore her soul to his eternal grasp. Woe to those who stand in his path. No weapon forged of modern hands can truly harm him. Bullets pass through brittle wrappings, and fire only delays the march. Only sacred rites can return him to slumber. The mummy reminds us of an ancient terror, that love itself can defy death, but at a cost so steep it damns both the living and the dead. His story is not just of horror, it is of yearning, undying, unholy. And in the still of night, when sand drifts against forgotten doors, perhaps he stirs again. The Invisible Man. In the quiet English countryside, a stranger once appeared at an inn. His face was hidden by thick bandages, his hands wrapped in black gloves, his eyes concealed by dark spectacles. He demanded solitude, spoke with sudden anger, and carried the air of one cursed. This was no ordinary traveler. This was Griffin, the Invisible Man. Once a brilliant scientist, he had sought to pierce the limits of nature itself. Through chemicals and forbidden formulas, he rendered his body transparent, unseen to the human eye. At first, it was a marvel. He could vanish at will, walk unseen among the living, but the gift twisted into torment. His form was lost, his soul eroded, until only madness remained. The lore tells us that the Invisible Man is not merely unseen. He is unshackled. Without the gaze of others, without consequence, he drifts into cruelty. He can move in silence, strike unseen, and vanish before any cry for help is heard. To his victims, there is nothing to fight, only laughter echoing in empty air, only footprints appearing where no body walks. Yet his invisibility is also his prison. He cannot feel warmth, for no one dares embrace what they cannot see. He cannot belong, for his condition breeds only terror. The more he craves power, the deeper he sinks into madness. Though Griffin once dreamed of using his discovery for greatness, he became a phantom of his own making, a warning that some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. The Invisible Man is not a ghost, yet he haunts as surely as one. His shadow is absence, his presence is dread, and when the night is still, you may feel the brush of unseen hands. The Wolf Man. The curse of the beast begins with a bite. A single wound carved beneath the light of the moon forever changes the soul of the victim. Such was the fate of Larry Talbot, a man who returned home to Wales after years away. Larry never sought evil. Yet when he defended a woman from a snarling wolf, his own flesh was pierced. The wolf fell dead, and in its place was revealed a man, a werewolf, struck down at last. But the curse did not end with him. It passed into Larry, marking him as the next to suffer. By day, he is a man of sorrow, trying to resist what he knows is coming. By night, beneath the swollen glow of the full moon, he changes. Hair spreads across his skin, his hands curl into claws, and his teeth sharpen into the fangs of a predator. His howl pierces the countryside, a sound of both hunger and despair. The Wolfman kills not by choice, but by curse. He hunts those he loves, unable to resist the call of blood. Chains cannot bind him. Prayers cannot soothe him. Only silver, the purest of metals, can end his torment. Yet even death brings no peace, for the lore says the werewolf's soul is damned to wander, caught between man and beast forever. Larry Talbot's tale is not of a villain, but of tragedy. He is the man who begs for chains, who warns his friends to flee, who knows that when the moon rises, he is no longer himself. Of all the monsters, he is perhaps the most human, for he shows us what it means to be consumed by the darkness within. The Phantom of the Opera. Beneath the gilded chandeliers of the Paris Opera House lies a labyrinth of stone and shadow. Few dare to descend into those tunnels, for they say a figure stalks the catacombs, disfigured, vengeful, and unseen by the daylight crowds above. This is the tale of Eric, the Phantom of the Opera. Once a man of genius and passion, Eric was born with a face so ghastly it condemned him to a life in darkness. Shunned by the world, he made the bowels of the opera his sanctuary, building a palace of traps and mirrors beneath the stage. There, cloaked and masked, he watched as life and love played out where he could never belong. Yet even in shadows his heart longed. He became captivated by a voice, a singer named Kristen. To him she was beauty incarnate, a light that might pierce his eternal night. But his devotion twisted into obsession. He haunted her dreams, trained her voice, whispered as though he were an angel. And when she chose another, his heart curdled into rage. The lore of the Phantom is not one of supernatural power, but of human torment. He strikes not with claws or fangs, but with cunning, traps, and the merciless will of a man who believes he has nothing left to lose. His mask hides his ruin, yet it also symbolizes the prison of his soul. The Phantom reminds us that sometimes the most haunting monsters are not born of curses or ancient magic. Sometimes they are shaped by cruelty, isolation, and the hunger for love that turns to madness. His song lingers in the dark, a lament for a beauty forever out of reach. The creature from the Black Lagoon. Far from Europe's castles and cathedrals, in the steaming jungles of the Amazon, lurks a legend untouched by time. In a lagoon where sunlight barely pierces the green canopy above, something stirs beneath the black waters. It is neither man nor fish, but something older. The gill man, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Scientists came seeking fossils, dreaming of discovering mankind's origins. What they found instead was something alive, scaled, amphibious, with webbed claws and eyes that glowed with an alien intelligence. The creature was no relic, but a survivor, a predator from an age before man ever walked the earth. When disturbed, he rose from the depths, towering and powerful, his body glistening like wet stone. He moved with the grace of water, at home in currents where no human could follow. To him, intruders were not explorers, but trespassers. His claws tore through nets, his strength crushed wood, and his grip could pull the living beneath the surface to drown in silence. Yet even the gill man is not without a strange yearning. He was drawn to beauty, to the woman who entered his lagoon. His fascination was not unlike the Phantom's obsession, half wonder, half hunger. But where man saw a monster, the creature may have seen a reflection. Another being alone, misunderstood, forced to live in shadows while the world above belonged to others. Bullets barely slowed him, harpoons only enraged him, and though he fell to mankind's weapons, the water always swallowed his body, carrying him away. Legends insist he lives still, waiting in the black waters where no light shines. The creature is the last of the great universal monsters, a reminder that our fears do not end with castles and curses. They linger in the unknown depths of the world, waiting to rise. Outro. The curtain falls, the projector flickers into silence, and yet the monsters remain. We have walked through castles where vampires rule, wandered forests where wolves howl, entered tombs where the dead refuse to rest, and dived into lagoons where ancient claws reach upward. Each tale is more than fiction. It is a reflection of us. Dracula whispers of our fear of death and the seduction of immortality. Frankenstein's monster teaches us the agony of rejection and the hubris of playing God. The mummy carries the weight of forbidden love, persisting beyond the grave. The Invisible Man warns of power unshackled from conscience. The Wolf Man is our struggle with the beast within. The Phantom shows us the pain of isolation. And the creature reminds us of the mysteries we dare not disturb. Together they are not merely the universal monsters. They are myths woven into our collective imagination. Beings who frighten not just because they are inhuman, but because they are too human. Their curses, their longings, their tragedies echo across generations. Though decades have passed since their first appearance on flickering screens, they remain alive in the whispers of midnight, in the shadows that dance on the edge of candlelight. They endure because fear endures. And as long as we look into the dark and wonder what waits there, the monsters will never truly rest. So tonight, as you close your eyes and drift into slumber, remember the lore of these timeless figures, for they may be confined to stories, but stories have a way of slipping free. Somewhere in the silence between waking and dreaming, a cape may flutter, a claw may scrape, or a mournful song may echo through the night. Sleep well, if you can.